We're tuning to Dadget for this lesson. It's going to be D, A, D, G, A, D. And why is that? Because we're going to look at one of the most common songs for this particular exercise and technique of slapping and popping. And it's Funkdified by Justin King. Particularly the intro riff is the one I get asked the most questions about. So I want to go through that with you guys. And we're going to start by looking at what's going on as far as technically. Let's really break this down. Let me help you understand this. So here's how the riff goes. We're going to start with doing a thumbs up, okay? Get used to wrist rotation right here. And then you're going to relax your wrist even more. And then you're going to translate this over to 6th string. It's going to look something like that. Now my forearm, my elbow is resting comfortably. I like to play with a strap. I keep my guitar relatively high so I have good control. Some people like to play more this position, maybe more upright. See what works for you. Once you get the hang of this right here, wrist rotation, right? Hit and release. That's the idea. And it might take a little bit of getting used to. You might have to find the sweet spot, the touch. It's almost like you could do the same thing with your fingers. It's not necessarily just the up and down motion. I see a lot of players doing this in their covers. It's not very good technique, not very good form. You have a lot more control, trust me, if you learn how to rotate the wrist. And I'm not coming up too high, maybe 45 degrees, not this right here. Too much, you want to do just barely. In the song, we're going to do a series of hitting mostly the 6th string. Sometimes we also hit aim for the 5th string. And this might be accomplished by muting the other strings with your left hand. Kind of like that. But it's going to be mostly popping on the 4th and 5th string. The slapping is mostly done on the 6th string. However, you have the riff where you go on the 5th string. So you're being more intentional about hitting the 5th string, and then it's almost like you're muting the 6th string kind of with the left hand in a way. Because as you're pressing down on the 3rd fret and the 5th fret, you're kind of muffling the 6th string. So it's nice and practical there. And what that is going, so one thumb slap, and then a dead note thumb slap. I use my left hand to mute the strings. And then popping or plucking, 4th string, 3rd fret. Followed by 2 dead note thumb slaps. Then hammer on 3rd to 5th fret, 5th string. Okay. Following this is going to be that riff we looked at right there. And the example here is, I'm coming over to the neck because it has a different tone. And it's much easier, I feel, to be accurate on slapping the 5th string. Takes a little getting used to though. Slapping, hammering onto the 3rd fret. Slapping again, hammering onto the 5th fret. Same thing with the left hand, just now on the 5th string. Okay, so together. Once more. And then. Okay, so we're using triplets here. And similar thing going on with our thumb and the thumb slaps. I can come at this angle to show you a little bit more in detail. So it is like I'm being accurate with aiming for the correct string. That is definitely going on. Practice it really slowly if you need to. Just hitting the 5th string then harmonic slap at the 12th fret. But what we're doing is 1 thumb slap, hammering onto the 3rd fret, 5th fret. Be sure to come nice and close to the upper end of the fret right here. Not far back here, because you won't get a clear hammer on. You'll have to use a lot more unnecessary strength. There you are. And then eventually you get to that speed. How about the very beginning? Check this out. Look at just my right hand here. This is what I'm doing. So mute the strings with the left hand, and you're going to do thumb, thumb, thumb. It doesn't matter whereabouts you're aiming, typically the top strings. And then I'm plucking generally the 4th string to get just a percussive tone. You could pluck 5th string. It all sounds relatively similar. Maybe even 3rd string. You might break the string though. I'd recommend going for the 4th string. So what about the in-between notes? How do we get the 16th note feel? Well, I'm going to begin doing percussive dead notes with my left hand. This is a simple way to play it right here. Okay, so I'm going thumb, slap, and the reason why I'm using just my 1st finger is to continue muting it with my maybe 3rd and 4th finger. I'm used to doing just 1st finger, but in the beginning you might need to add the 2nd finger in there too to get the nice percussive tone. It might be a little tricky to produce that volume with just 1 finger. And you can practice creating that sound too, solely. But basically you're going back and forth. So 3 times thumb slap, and then 1 time pluck. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then finger roll. Okay, 1 at a time. And then adjust speed accordingly. Took me a while to get the hang of that. So practice that nice and slow, and muscle memory, you will get it. So the whole intro you had was slide, 12th fret, and then this crazy technique, which we're going to look at, triplet strumming, rasguado, however you pronounce it. And what I'm going to do more exercises, and I'm going to do more exercises on that in another video, but for the time being, down with the fingers, down with the thumb, up with the thumb. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if the tempo is like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. That's basically what we're doing there. So, yep. And then using your left hand to mute those strings. And then finishing with the slide. And then, of course, I could go on further in the song. You had the dominant 7th chords, which are pretty cool. All your fingers are basically on, we'll look at the bass one, right? 2nd finger, 5th fret, 4th, 3rd fret, and then you add in your 1st finger on a fret behind that. So that's a major 3rd right there. Okay. And then you have the dominant 7th right there. Okay. The flat 7th, if you will. Because if it's major 7th, we're doing this. So we're flattening the 7th, and that's going to be 5th fret, 3rd string. Same frets on the 5th and 3rd string. And then finally, we're going to add our pinky on the 2nd string, which creates an octave with our 5th string. And then, of course, from there, it's just getting the groove. So, down, up, triplet, 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 downstroke. Yep. So, okay. Then one more, pull off, and then he's doing crazy stuff here. So we're getting that the C note with the flattened 7th right there, hammering onto that from nowhere. 3rd fret, 5th and 3rd string. We're creating 5ths right here, a power chord. 5th fret, sliding to the 7th fret, 4th and 2nd string. Pulling off, hammering on from nowhere to the flat 7th interval. Harmonic slide. Alright. And then Ben Laps does one where he slides from the 7th to the 12th fret. Okay? What are we really doing here? We're in drop D, right? It's almost like we're playing the pentatonic scale. Open, so you can think D minor, right? 3, minor 3, 4, and then we have the flattened 7th, then the 1, C to D. And then we have the minor 3rd again. And then we're sticking around those notes right there. You had that riff too, which was... And what's going on here is a little bit trickier. Alright, so we looked at that riff. And then instead of going... We're just going to go one time, slap 5th string, and then hammer on 3rd fret. And then repeat that. Finish with hitting that power chord right there. 3rd fret. There you are. Hope this helps you guys out. Be sure to check out my courses in the description and be sure to leave a comment on what you would like your next lesson to be on.